Hey there, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Rickshaw Ramblings. This week, we're going to be talking about what is a man as I see it, how do women fit into that, and the struggles between the two of them. For the most part, my opinion of what a man should be kind of stems from the classic stuff of being loyal, working hard, trying to be honest, things like that. The stuff we were all taught when we were a kid. Where I get into more of a talking point is probably around three things in particular. The first one is something that's a bit less loved by today's society, and that's a willingness to fight for things that you believe in. In today's society, we're taught that any kind of violence is wrong, there's no reason to fight. If you can't solve something with words, you should just run away or avoid it. But the truth of this is that if we did that throughout history, all the good people in the world would be dead, and all the bad people would be in charge. It's nice to say that violence is never the answer, and it's great to be all high and mighty and not pick up the sword even when they're pointing one at you. But in the end, all you're doing is running away from having to do something you don't want to do. I'm not pushing anyone towards violence as a solution for any problems, but it's that willingness to fight for what you believe in that I think is a big part of being a man. Now, the kind of will that it takes to make that kind of choice ties into the second thing that I really think is a big defining characteristic, at least for me. And that's kind of an unbreaking will to do the things that you need to do or that you want to do to achieve whatever goal it is that you want to achieve in your life. I think that a man should never be stopped by any of the small things in their life. They should never be stopped by naysayers. They should never be stopped by a lack of education or a lack of finances. They should always find a way. They should find a way to learn the thing they need to know, or they should find a way to fund the thing they need to do, or in the end, they need to figure a way to bypass those things, or to find the people that can help them do it. In the end, there's nothing that will stop them from achieving their goal. There's only something that will delay them. There's only the next challenge. There's only the next hurdle. In the end, they will find some way around it, or they will find someone to help them over it. For me, that might even actually be the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing that I strive for as myself, is just never giving up. No matter how hard things get, I refuse to quit. I refuse to just sit back and let something happen to me, something destroy what I want to do. Now, awful segue later, but the last thing I'm going to say for what I think defines a man, or really what I think men really need to strive more for, it's not something I see a lot in men, as at least as much as men want to define themselves by it. A lot of men do it, but they don't define themselves by it. And this thing is simply being reasonable. This is both an intellectual and an emotional thing that, as I said, some men do it, but some men don't, and they respond to things with violence or with hate or with anger, and really it just hurts them in terms of making the best choice. The ability to remain calm and just make a educated decision around something that you're facing is everything for your future and for everyone else's future and well-being. It ties very importantly into that willingness to fight for the things you believe in as well. A person who's rashly doing that and rashly making that decision is probably making a bad decision. But the person who's evaluated every option and tried to take every avenue available, that person is the one that you need to listen to when they say, it's time to fight. It's time to do that thing that we really don't want to do. And I really think it's a shame that more men don't attempt to be more level-headed and conscious of the choices they make. I think everyone would be a lot better off if people just tried to separate themselves once in a while and just make an educated choice. Even if you're not the best at it, a lot can be gained from simply trying and holding that as a good value. Now, before I move on to the next general point of this video, I do really want to talk about what it is I think men hold themselves to that is just completely flawed. I see all over society men and women deciding the value of a man based on some of the silliest shit. I see things like men judging themselves based on what kind of car they have. Particularly things like trucks, because trucks scream manly for some reason. I see men judging themselves or others by what drinks they drink, because a man drinks beer and a man drinks whiskey. And if you don't like beer or whiskey, then you're not a man. It doesn't matter that those drinks aren't really any different from the drink next to it other than how they taste. And then there's the more classical stuff of, what kind of job you have, what kind of house are you in, and what kind of clothes do you wear. And that determines your value. But in truth, the only thing that matters really is what's under the skin, and I will take that belief to the grave. Now we're going to move into a topic that I'm probably going to eat some shit over, because I got far less place talking about it than I do about being a man, because I am a man. And it's kind of talking about how women judge themselves. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail on this one, because I don't think it's a man's place to really judge what a woman should be, any more than I think it's a woman's place to judge what a man should be. It's up to the sexes themselves to decide for themselves what they want to be. And I really think people sticking to that belief would end a lot of the drama that's currently going on around those topics. What I really have to say about women in terms of what they want to be or what they think they should be is that I've observed that a lot of people, women included, seem to think because a man is something, or a man decides this is what being a man is, that women cannot be that. Now, this belief is probably one of the most ridiculous things I know, and it's so simply broken down into an easy example that anyone can digest. If you believe something like that, then clearly you believe, while I can slap you with this hand, I must not be able to slap you with this hand, because this hand already does it. Now, the reality is I can't slap you with either, whether I want to or not, because this is an internet video. The moral of that story is that women shouldn't be so concerned with what a man is to define themselves. A woman can be whatever a woman wants to be. And I'm not going to tell you what a woman should be, and I don't think any other man should tell you what to be, as long as you do me the favor of not doing the same. If I say men are strong, that does not mean women are weak. It just means women have to decide if they want to be strong, or if they want to be something else. There are good arguments for a variety of skills being useful to a person or a pair, but also an abundance of a single skill can have just as much value to that person or that pair. I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. It's not the best closing point, but I'm still getting used to this video thing, and I'll just have to get better at it with time. If I were to leave you with a piece of advice, it's worry about yourself, not so much about other people, and I think you'll be fine in the end. Thank you for taking the time to come check me out. I hope to see you guys in the next video. See you later.